Welcome back to Summer in the Psalms. We're in Psalm 22. It's a famous song because this is the psalm that Jesus cites on the cross, namely the first verse. We're not going to read the whole psalm in this little section because it's a bit long. What I want to point out is how the events in Psalm 22 correspond directly to Jesus' experience on the cross. A lot of people don't know that when Jesus hangs on the cross and he says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" that he's actually quoting the first verse of Psalm 21. And if I were to, let's imagine we were in church and I were to sing the first line of a song, you would probably be able to finish the line. For example, if I said, "And can it be," you would know the rest of the song. Or "Amazing Grace," you'd be able to finish the rest of the song. And remember, they sung the Psalms. And so for Jesus to cite the first line of Psalm 22 means that the people in hearing, they would know what the rest of the psalm is and be able to make the correspondence to say, my goodness, look at what's happening, what happened in the psalm and what's happening to him now. This is a prophetic psalm that describes Jesus' experience. And as Jesus cites this psalm, it gives us some insight when we read the rest of the psalm as to what's happening on the cross. And I would suggest that Jesus is not saying literally that God has forsaken him. Rather, he's saying, it feels as if I have forsaken you, or that you've forsaken me. However, I trust in you, and I'm doing this as your obedient servant, knowing that because of this act, future generations will come to know you. So let's look at some of the correspondences between Psalm 22 and Jesus' experience on the cross. First verse, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And then we jump to verse 7. "All who see me sneer at me. They separate with the lip. They wag their head at me, saying, 'Commit yourself to the Lord. Let him deliver him.'" Remember, they made fun of Jesus on the cross. They mocked him. And they said, he could save others. Can he not save himself? And then we get to verse 13. "They open wide their mouth at me as a ravening and roaring lion." Verse 14, "I am poured out like water and all my bones are out of joint. My heart's like wax. It's melted within me. My strength is dried up like a potsherd and my tongue cleaves to my jaws." We know Jesus was thirsty on the cross. He says, "I am thirsty. Can I have a drink?" "And you lay me in the dust of death. For dogs have surrounded me and a band of evildoers have encompassed me." And last line of verse 16, "They have pierced my hands and my feet." Verse 18, "They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots." There's no doubt that there is a correspondence between this Psalm 22 and what happens to Jesus on the cross. So he's saying, Lord, deliver me, help me. It feels as if I've been abandoned, but I know I haven't. And this is where the turn comes. Verse 24, "For he has not despised nor abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, nor he has hidden his face from him. But when he cries to him for help, he heard." So David and Jesus is saying that I know you're going to come to my rescue. I know that even though it feels this way, that you have not forgotten me, you hear me, and you see me. And then he goes on to say, "From you comes my praise in the great assembly. I shall pay my vows before those who fear him." Verse 26, "The afflicted will eat and be satisfied, and those who seek him will praise the Lord." So in other words, even though I'm afflicted now, I know you will come to my rescue. Verse 27, "All the ends of the earth will remember and turn to the Lord, and all the families of the nations will worship you forever." So as we move to the end of this verse, it starts out as being a complaint and a cry for help, but it really is a psalm of trust. This psalm is saying that even though I trust you, and by following through with my trust and being faithful, that you will respond, you will deliver me, and you will cause the nations to know you through this act. And so this psalm tells us then that when Jesus says, my God, why have you forsaken me?" He's not literally saying that God has forsaken him. He's saying, I trust you. Though you slay me, I trust you. Psalm 22.